Hello, my name is Emphrey, and this is a Blender 4.0 tutorial. Blender 4.0 is the newest version of Blender. Now, even with all the updates, Blender could be an overwhelming program for some people. I mean, after all, you got all these different tabs to sift through that maybe professionals might appreciate. But for the average beginner, all these tabs and crap can be enough to scare the average beginner away. This tutorial is to show that you don't really need a whole lot of stuff to be able to use Blender. So in this tutorial, I'm just going to create a character using just basic shape in this tab and list right here and vertex colors over here. Now the first thing that you want to do is make sure object mode is selected. Object mode is the default mode that is pre-selected anytime you start any project in Blender. But make sure this object mode is selected anyway. Okay, so first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this cube, and then I'm going to go to this right section here and press on this tab right here so that when we add our simple shapes like so, I can click on this tab and click new on every shape I put in here, and you'll be able to see the vertex colors. This is basically what I'm going to do. Just keep using the same method until I have a character created. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's the head. Now, I'm going to add the body. Body, put it down a little bit, using these arrows. This shape too, I'm going to do the same thing. Click new, click a color. Okay, let's make his shirt gray. Same thing again. Add mesh cylinder. This is going to be his leg. Click the middle mouse button to rotate, then click this button to scale, make it smaller. Okay, to rotate so I can see the bottom and just move it. And this is how you can make characters in Blender. Okay, I got my left leg. Let's put some color on it. Duplicate this leg because it has the exact color that I want. So to duplicate this leg, I'm just going to right click, click copy object. I don't like using the duplicate object. If you use that, your mesh will go all over the place and it won't line up with the coordinate for something like a leg in which I want to be side by side. So I'd rather use copy object and then paste object and then use the arrow to move it to the side. Okay, it's lined up pretty good. That's good enough. Now for reference, if you want to add image textures instead of base colors, let's say I want to add this photo that I've been manipulating in my favorite paint program. I mean, your photo can be on your desktop or anywhere on your computer. Okay, first I can save this to my desktop. I'm going to call it Yum. Let's say, hypothetically, I want to add a photo to this shape right here. Well, first of all, make sure you have this circle called Material Preview selected so you'll be able to see your photo here once you upload it. And then click this circle here near the word base colors, image texture. Click open. I saved the photo to the desktop, right? And I called the photo that I wanted Yum. Remember? Open image, and bam! The photo is on my shape, or what we are calling leg. But that's how you add an image texture. Okay, let's say I want to change this around or make this image bigger, or hypothetically change where my photo is on the cylinder or this leg here. Well, first you go to UV editing, and once you open this window, you won't see your photo for now. So what you have to do is, to fix that, slide this tab over, and you just have to click this Material Preview circle again. And then that's when your photo will show up again. Now you can see your photo while we're editing your photo over here too. Whatever window you're dealing with, make sure your mouse cursor is pointed towards that window. For example, if I want to do something in this window, you see my mouse cursor is pointed towards this window. If I want to do something in this window, my mouse cursor is pointed towards this window. And for this one, I'm just going to scroll out using my mouse wheel. Now, let's say you just want to mess around with this photo here. Whatever you do over here is going to affect what happens over here too. Okay, so let's say I want to just select the top and I just want to move this. See? The more I move it, it corresponds to where this image is at. Now, one thing you might notice is once we get outside this realm here, all this photo does is just keep repeating, even though our mesh property is not on the photo. See, it just keeps repeating. So if you don't want it to repeat like that, then all you do is just go to this circle here, and there's a tab that's called repeat. Click the tab and click on clip. And then, as you see, in order to see your photo again, your mesh property has to actually be on the photo. So that's how you add photos and image textures to your mesh, and that's the way you manipulate your image textures once you put it on there. So you can fix these to your liking. Now we're going to go back to working with just base colors. So then when you add your shapes, you can always go to this list over here and double click, label the parts. You want to do that so you can know what you have. As I just did here, and next is the double click right leg. So that's the basics of that part. Keep doing what we just did here until you have your character or your city or whatever. So now y'all got the basic idea of how I'm doing this. Keep this tutorial short. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and finish this character up. Just doing it the way I've been doing it. And then we'll keep going from there. Okay, so now I got my character, and this is a completed character. You know, I got all the parts and everything. The only thing is, I haven't joined all the parts together, because eventually I'm going to try to animate this character, and we needed to join all the parts in order to animate them. So first thing I'm going to do is just hold down the control and just select all these parts. Don't select the camera because it's not part of the character, but just select all the parts that I created. See what you can do with that simple process that I did? You can make anything with just using simple shapes and base colors. You can keep Blender as simple as you make it. Okay, so I selected all my items, and I'm going to right click and join them. Okay, so I joined all my parts. And then I can double click over here and just rename my character. You can do that as an option. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add bones so that we can animate it. Now before adding bones, when you have downloaded Blender for the first time, if you don't see this basic human meta rig section right here, then go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, Rigging, Rigify, and make sure you have this box selected here. This is what sets up the coding for our bones. I don't know why Blender don't just have this right out the box, but if you want to put in bones to animate your character, you just have to do this small task. Okay, so now that we added the coding to make our human boning possible, now we're going to add Armature, Basic Human Meta Rig. Okay, so there's our bone. You can barely see it, but our bone is above our character. So now we're just going to resize this. We're going to resize these bones. So bones are just essential for animation if you want to animate your character. So we're just going to resize these bones so that it can fit inside our character properly. Okay, so, and one thing you could do too to see your bones is go to this runner looking thing, go down to View Display in Front. And we can see our bones a lot more clearly. So just keep adjusting it. We got our character to this point. We did all this in the object mode, but in order to edit the bones individually and resize them and move them around and rotate them, you have to go into edit mode. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out with the mouse wheel and middle mouse button to see my character a little more. And I'm just going to keep resizing this. Or you can just click this icon and select all your bones this way. And then I'm just going to keep resizing it. I prefer to use these arrows right here. It makes it so that it's not a messy process. So all I'm going to do is just keep trying to line these bones up with my character. That's about right. Now I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, rotate. This looks okay for our purposes. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, and I'm going to line these bones up with this arm right here. So left click the bone. Sometimes you got the long part of the bone, and then sometimes you got the ball joint. And use these arrows to move the bone around. You can move either one. Just keep moving these until you got the bones lined up correctly. Let's see, and going pretty good so far. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so this looks about right. I'm going to do the same thing over here too. Click down here, move it up. And here, move over. If you want a pan, I got a pan, so I hold down the shift button, hold down the middle mouse wheel, and pull over so I can see the rest. I try to line up the ball with the creases in the shapes. See, this is a crease. This middle part right here is a crease, so I'm just going to move the ball like right here. It's kind of the way I have it. Okay, so this is about the way I want it. I'm going to do the same thing to the head. Zoom out a little bit and then... Okay, so look like my bones are in the place where I want them to be. It's like everything's lined up properly. The bones are in the middle of the character and everything looks pretty good. You want these bones to be in the dead center of your character. Like I got it. Now after you have your bones lined up in the dead center of your character, go back to object mode, click your character first, hold down the control button on your keyboard, and then click the bones right here. And then after you got both selected, hold down Control P and select with auto weight. And your bones are now connected to your character. Congratulations. Okay, so now go to pose mode and you can click on any bone and move it, and your character will move along the axis of your bone. See? That ensures that your character is connected to the bone. And I'm going to change this name too. I'm just going to double click here and change the name. Okay, so now, do you want animations with this? Are you tired of using programs like Mixamo and you just rather do your own animations? Well, then let's do animations now. First thing, make sure you're in pose mode. We're already in pose mode. And, okay, pull up this animation tab right here. And then I'm just going to zoom out and then hold the mouse wheel to rotate my scene. And then I'm going to select my whole character. And then make sure the cursor is in this window right here, pointing towards your character. And press the I key on your keyboard. I always like to use the location, rotation, scale tab. That which my arrow is pointing to right here. So click that. And this will be considered my first animation, or the beginning frame, or beginning pose. And to know you got your first animation in, you'll see a little yellow dot right here. So next, let's go to the next animation. Let's say 20, let's just rotate this arm down. So after 20 seconds, his arm is going to be down here. So make sure the cursor is pointing to the character and click the I button and location, rotation, scale again. If you see this yellow dot here, that means your second animation or second pose has been recorded. Now, let's go to the next animation. I'm going to move this up to 40. Notice that I'm doing this in 20-second intervals to keep it all even. 20 plus 20 equals 40. 20 seconds he's doing one thing, and another 20 seconds he's doing something else. Okay, so next, let's move his arm back. Things are not perfect, but this is just to show you. Okay, so 40 seconds later, his arm's going to be back to where it was. If that's what I want, I press the I button again, location, rotation, scale. So we're just working with 40 seconds, so let's just put the end frame as 40 here. Otherwise, your animation is just going to keep running and running and running and running. You want the animations that you're working with. So we're dealing with 40 frames per second, so that's what we put here. Okay, so let's start this beginning, and that's what you can see that's what our arm is doing. Remember, our animation is not perfect. This is just to show you the basics of animation. Okay, so we got our first animation. You just keep doing this over and over again. If you want to move the other arm. Now, if you're going to animate another part of the body, you should only work with that part of the body that you're animating. So now you just repeat the process. Press the I button on your keyboard, location, rotation, scale. That's his right arm's first pose. Okay, so now 20 seconds later, never mind the left arm. The left arm is going to move, but never mind the left arm. We're only dealing with the right arm. Okay, so 20 seconds later, this right arm is going to be down here. Okay, so when the right arm is where you want it to be, make sure this cursor is pointing towards this window. Press the right button, location, rotation, scale. Okay, so we got this animation. Okay, so then 20 seconds later, again, never mind the left hand, his arm is going to be back to where it was. And then Make sure the cursor is pointed towards the window. Press the I button. Location, rotation, scale. Now, when we go at our animations again, let's go to the beginning. Now both of our arms are going to be moving. See? And that's how you animate in Blender. You can do the same thing with his legs and any other part that you want. You can finally stop using mixer mode and do your own animations. Because sometimes I think mixer mode is kind of buggy. Now, one more thing regarding animation. If you're not dealing with a humanoid character, then you won't need bones. You can just do the same process that we just did without bones. Take this cube here. You can still just do the same process. This can be the first position of the square. Press I, location, rotation, scale. Then move the needle up. This can be 20 frames later. Let's say this square will be up here. Press I, location, rotation, scale. 20 more frames later, here at 40, this cube will be right back where it started. Like I said, you can use the arrows or this side panel here. It doesn't matter. I, location, rotation, scale. Again, the end frame will be 40 so that our needle won't go all over the place. So if you're not dealing with humanoid characters, then this will be the way you do animations. Okay, so let's play it. So this tutorial was meant to show you an easy way to use Blender and to show beginners that you don't really have to go into all this, what I call bloatware, to use Blender and to create your 3D models, animation, and all kind of other stuff that you might want. So you can take what you learned in this tutorial and expand on it. I mean, maybe later you might learn what all this other stuff means, but for now you can just, like I said, just keep it simple. And you can use these methods to create your 3D models, make your games, or all kinds of other stuff. So I hope this helps. Till next time. Thanks. Bye.